Hello and welcome to No Man's Land. I'm Shisho Shroom, and today we're gonna try and get a little bit more work done on the other half of the mountain over there. For now, however, I do need food, and I'd like to get a couple other resources. So we're gonna go ahead really quick and get a couple farms set up. I'm thinking a Hoglin farm, a slime farm as quick as we can, and then go mining a little bit for some redstone. After that, we're gonna hop into clearing out the other half of that mountain. We will at least get that done. I would also like to get the other half built up. We're gonna start off today's episode by building the Hoglin farm. Food is definitely a priority. It is something that would help speed along this process a lot. So we're gonna get that taken care of so that I don't have to worry about food ever again. So, for the Hoglin farm, we need torches to light up the area so that Hoglins are the only thing that will be able to spawn. Warped fungus so that when the Hoglins do spawn, they will immediately run into the kill chamber. Dirt to place the warped fungus on. Fence posts to hold the Hoglins in place and make sure they don't run off the edges. We're also just going to take logs so that if I need anything else that requires wood, like a crafting table or anything of that nature, then I'll have that all available. Hoppers and chests for the storage collection system. However, because we're bringing logs, we're going to have all the chests we need. Soul sand for the base floor of the kill chamber. I've also grabbed some flint and steel, but I'm going to leave that out of the shulker box. And the rest of this, we're just going to fill up with stone so that we have a building material to lay out the spawning platform for the Hoglins. And with that, we're ready to go. Building the Hoglin farm will actually be relatively easy. This should be done in no time at all. First thing we need is to make sure that we are in the Crimson Forest, and so if you look on the left side near the bottom of that list, it says biome. Minecraft Crimson Forest. That is what we are looking for. First, I need a crafting table, followed by 24 chests. Give each of the chests a hopper, and I'm setting the chests up like this so that the kill chamber can be a 5x5 block area, which will make it a lot easier to set in the trap door that lures them into the fire. Now that the hoppers are in place, we can go ahead and get the kill chamber floor set in. And we're using soul sand because they're not a full block, so any item will fall through the soul sand into the hopper and into the chest. Next, we're gonna get the wall in around the kill chamber. And before we build up, we're gonna light the floor. We're taking the wall up 3 blocks, then building a floor that's going to go 5 out in every direction. The 5th block on the center pieces and the corners are going to be dirt. After filling in the stone, we're going to put warped fungus on all of the dirt. After the warped fungus, we're placing torches all the way through the center of the entire platform. Now that we have the torches in place, we're going to go ahead and get the wall in. The wall is going to make sure that the Hoglins don't run off the edge. The torches make sure that nothing else can spawn. We also need to make sure to get a torch on each of the corner pieces. Now that we have the fence posts and the torches in place, we need to get the trapdoors set up. The trapdoors are pretty simple. We're just going to put them around this 1 block that we just placed in the center, and then 3 on either side. If you want, you could place a 4th one here, but it's not really necessary, but we're going to do it just anyway. And that is basically it. This is the entire farm. We don't need to build it up anymore. Nothing. However, we are going to add a couple more layers. I want at least 3. I think that would make it, at the very least, so that I don't have to AFK here very much. So we go up another 3 blocks and start to build out. From this point, we're just going to recreate the exact same thing that we made down there. So I will see you when we've got 2 more floors placed in, and then we'll build the AFK chamber. And just like that, we have a fully functional Hoglin farm. I'm going to go ahead and get the AFK chamber built, and then I'll show you guys a short time lapse of Hoglins dying in mass amounts. I'm going to take the AFK platform up to 246. That way it'll be just out of spawn radius for anything else below the nether roof. There's not a whole lot with the spawning platform. It's mostly just a half slab platform, just big enough for me to land on, and a torch in the center to give it a little bit of light, really high off the ground, to make sure that nothing is spawning below the roof of the nether where we don't want things to spawn. You can see the Hoglin farm working as we're falling down, and that is fantastic. We're gonna take a quick look inside and watch some Hoglins burning up. All right, I think we have AFK'd here for long enough. Let's go take a look at all of the plunders. And as you can see, I already have some cooked pork chop in my inventory. I have gone down here a couple times to kind of check on the progress and see how it's going. I've also removed the majority of all the leather and taken it to the base already, but we have 4 full double chests of cooked pork chop and then some more. On top of that, I've been going back and forth between the Hoglin farm, the gold farm, and the base because we've been making progress. As you can see, our pile of stone has grown much larger because we have cleared out the entire other half of the mountain. And we got the line work in for the frame of the mountain. So it's kind of traced out and we know where it's gonna go and how it's gonna look. And oh man, it looks amazing. I am so glad to be done with excavating the mountain. It is entirely done. I have nothing more to dig out until I need to go mine for diamonds, which really won't need to be for a long time. Now that we've finished excavating the mountain, before I jump on to a slime farm, I want to finish building it. So let's jump into as quick of a time lapse as I can make this, and let's get the entire rest of the mountain filled in, besides the dirt. Before we start the detail work on the mountain, however, look at this sizable stack of coal. Let's whittle this down. And we have an absolute insane amount of coal. That is so nice. And now we can finally get started on the mountain. And the outline for the mountain is entirely completed. This took so many hours, I don't even know how to begin. It was a long time, and I'm glad it's over and we can finally forget about this stone. I've also gone through and replaced all of the stone on the bottom. I removed the failed villager trading hall that was right here. We will eventually get a trading hall in place, or what I was thinking was, instead of a villager trading hall, is as I build out the mountain and as I build up certain houses, some of the houses will have specific themes surrounding them. So for instance, one of them will be a blacksmith and I will have blacksmith villagers in there. One of them will be a farmhouse and I'll have farming villagers in there. And that way, instead of having it be a long hall that we walk down, we can walk through the village on the mountain and in the mountain and kind of interact with the build a little bit more rather than just looking at it and going to a few select places. Everything will kind of be spread out and it'll give you a reason to want to look and experience the entire mountain and the entire village. For now, we need to start with a new to-do list. I took down the one over there that was in the grass because we don't hang out over there very much anymore. So let's go off over into this corner, somewhere where we will see it, but you know, it's not gonna be in the way. Eventually I'm gonna get some torches down in here, but for now, let's get this list going. And this list is essentially going to be the things that I want to put on the floor of the mountain, or the peak of the mountain, the part where the dirt's gonna go. And I'm waiting to put the dirt in until I have a general outline for a couple of the houses, so I know what level to put the dirt at, and I will know which parts I want to be a little bit more hilly and which parts I want to be more flat, as if though it was housing a building. So our to-do list will essentially be the farms that I want to put there. And I have a few in mind. I'm not gonna put too many farms here in this area, as I do want it to be a place where people can live and hang out and not be too laggy. So we're only gonna do a handful of farms here, and we're eventually gonna set up another area that has more farms. So for now, we're just gonna get the farms set up in place and then start laying out some land to put buildings on for people to live in. One of the first farms that I need is a cobblestone generator. The entire time that I dug this out, I did so with a silk touch pickaxe, so I only got stone. And there are instances where I want to put in cobblestone, like over here where I've mixed in stone with cobblestone to kind of add texture to the entire mountain, and I want to do that everywhere that there's stone. I want there to also be cobblestone. The next farm I need before I can finish up the detail work is a nether tree farm. Now the reason I need the nether tree farm is because I'm going to use shroom lights to kind of add an accent light on the entirety of the mountain. So there are going to be instances where there's a shroom light covered with glass and a gray carpet and then blocked off with stone and cobblestone, so that it adds an ambient light on the outside mountain, as well as spawn proofs it. So it'll give it a nice lighting situation, as well as make it so no mobs come in. And it was going to be either shroom light or sea lantern. However, the shroom light is easier to acquire, and I will eventually make a guardian farm, but for right now, none of the things that I want to build requires that color of blue, so I'm going to set it aside for now and just make the nether tree farm. At some point we will hollow out a mountain in the ocean and set up a guardian farm, but that's going to be a little bit later. The final farm we need in order for me to finish the detailing work is a wool farm. The wool farm will just give me the carpet that I need to put on top of the shroom light to make it so you can't see the shroom light from the outside, and everything will have a nice gray tone to it from the outside of the mountain. Now these three farms will allow me to finish the detail work on the walls of the mountain. It will allow us to get a lot done. However, before I can put the dirt flooring on the mountain, I do want to get a few more farms in place. Those farms are going to be a regular tree farm. This one will be able to farm up 5 types of wood. Essentially, the only ones that it won't is the nether tree farm, which we'll have a farm for, and dark oak wood. Now, a dark oak wood farm is much larger than a tree farm. In fact, it would take up a sizable space inside the mountain. So at some point we may put one inside instead of on top, because that will give us more space to build other buildings other than giant farms. So we may wait on that one. For now, we're gonna just start with a regular tree farm. In order to power the tree farm, I need a skeleton farm. Now, I know of a skeleton spawner not too far from here. However, I also want to set up a wither skeleton farm, as that will allow me to get all of the coal I would ever need, as well as bones, as well as wither skeleton skulls. So we will have beacons taken care of, farming essentials taken care of, and fueling systems taken care of. That is, however, going to be in the nether. It just allows me to do the other necessary things that I want to do here. Another thing that I want to get set up is not a farm, but a smelting center. And we'll use the fuel from the wither skeleton farm, as well as all the coal we got from removing the mountain, to power the smelting center. I would also like to get a raid farm set up, especially since it's not very difficult to get a raid farm, and the resources that it gives you are absolutely phenomenal. So the sooner I can get that, the better. I really just have to think about space, since I don't want a raid to happen in the mountain at any point in time, because that will ruin a lot of the things that are going on here. I may end up building that and using it as the starting point for the next area that I'm going to be working on once we've all finished up the mountain. A handful of other simple farms that I will put in the outline for before I get the dirt put in. However, I may not build them up until after I've got the dirt in, and I will just section off where I want them to go and what level I want them to be at so that we can start getting the dirt put in, is going to be a cactus farm, a flower farm, a cocoa bean farm, and a melon and pumpkin farm. Now these ones aren't absolutely necessary. I like them to be able to have the majority of the dyes necessary for the majority of the colors. Now, we don't have black, and at some point we are going to either have to get a wither rose farm or a squid farm set up, and I'm actually leaning towards a squid farm, as every time I've built another rose farm, they typically break after about an hour of AFK because the wither tends to blow up literally any block except bedrock, so without the ability to just grab bedrock, there's no way to set it up so the wither can't destroy it, and I don't feel like repairing it once a week. So we're just gonna set up a squid farm, since that will also give us ink sacs in order to make books. So I do think the squid farm takes the priority over a wither rose farm, and essentially a wither rose farm, beyond it being a dye farm, it's only necessary in order to build a wither skeleton farm, and that's why we've got 1,000,000 chickens. And at some point, probably after we've gotten the dirt put in for the mountain, and after we've gotten the outlines for these farms and these farms built up, I want to get a basalt generator in the nether set up, as well as a piglin bartering center. And before anything, I desperately need to get a slime farm, since that will essentially dictate the majority of the redstone that I get to do. And since I have a ton of bee nests, I'm also just gonna get a honey farm going on. And once we have all of these farms set up in place, ready to go, the mountain is built, detailed textures, then we're gonna start focusing on the building structures. We'll start looking at covering up the iron farm and making it look like a nice fancy building, covering up the gunpowder farm, as well as all of the new farms that we build. And I want to get all of these farms in order to have a nice block palette to choose from, so that I can have a variety of colors, shapes, textures, and just make it look really nice and detailed at when you're up close or far away. And that is gonna bring us to the end of the episode. This has been a long time coming, getting the entire rest of the mountain all built up, and we will quickly get into detailing the mountain. I do just need to get a couple farms built up, and we're gonna get those started immediately on to the next episode, which for me is gonna be about 5 minutes from now. But this video will come out right before my next live stream, which means that there are no more spoilers and we can enjoy together this world that I've been working on in a live stream, and we'll probably get some of the detail work done during that live stream. And so I'm gonna try and get those farms built up before the weekend comes. So I've got a lot of work ahead of me and another episode to make, so I will see you next time.